All right, folks, we have most of the budget committee here, so I will open our meeting of the Mascoma Valley Regional School District Budget Committee on Wednesday, January 14th. We're going to open the meeting with a pledge of allegiance. Before we get to the budget,
Good evening, sorry about that. I thought I was talking loud enough, but apparently not. So, first item on the agenda before we get to the budget itself is going to be the approval of minutes from December 1st, 2025. Before I ask for motion, are there any corrections or comments that anybody on the budget committee has? There being none, I'll accept the motion to approve the minutes as written. Moved by Wally, second. Second by Kristen. Any further discussion? All in favor of approving the minutes as written, show of hands. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ayes and nays and abstentions. 1 abstention. The minutes are approved as written. So the next item on the agenda is the public comment on the agenda. This is the public hearing on the budget. I will begin with just a very brief summary. In some years past, we have gone through kind of line by line, there not being a huge audience. Unless somebody would like me to do that, I'm just going to give a very brief summary and then I'll open up the floor to comments. When we do get to the comment section, we ask you to please limit your comments to 5 minutes per person, and any action or discussion stemming from those comments, the board may address at a later meeting or later in this meeting. You're not necessarily going to jump and act on anything immediately, just so you're aware of that. So this year's, before I get into the budget itself, I want to start by just thanking everybody who's been involved in this process, particularly the administration. Amanda and Michelle have put in literally thousands of hours. That is not an exaggeration. Also, the building heads, the principals, the department heads have all put a lot of time and effort into coming up with the number that we're putting before you tonight. Also like to recognize Seth Narat for all the work he does on the tech. He's done that at our meetings and he's doing it this evening, so you can hear what we have to say. On the budget itself, our proposed budget this year is $32,974,071. That is an increase of 96%. I'm sorry. Thank you for the catch, Wally. 0.96%. Should that not be approved, if that is the final number that goes to the voters, the default budget would be $33,209,497, which is an increase of 1.67%. In order to come up with this budget, we started with zero. We didn't come up with a number that we wanted and then work backwards. We start with zero, and then the department heads bring in their budgets. We go through line by line during our work sessions, beginning in early October and running through mid-December. For any of you out there that really want to be involved in the process and get your public comments out earlier in the process, those meetings are all open to the public. They're all noticed on Mascoma's website, and we encourage the public to attend. This year we had exactly 0 members of the public that attended, so that's the time when you can really get into the nitty-gritty of it and see what the process is that we go through on the budget. But we are here tonight for public comment. The summary of the budget and what led into it is we began by understanding that the enrollment has been continuing a slow decline. However, we do find this year that the elementary schools were both up slightly, so we are encouraged that that may be a trend that will at least level off, if not perhaps go back in a direction we'd like to see. The administration recognizes this in the sense that they've been some modest staff reduction. This is through attrition, not by cutting active positions. There's been one admin position at the high school that has not been refilled. One position has gone from full-time to part-time. We've eliminated a guidance position at Indian River School. We didn't feel we needed to refill due to the counselor to student ratios. The administration is also looking at ways to combine some of the smaller classes or find alternative means of taking classes where possible, and this is particularly with the advanced placement groups. They're shifting staff around to the different schools to reflect the enrollment of the individual buildings in the district. So we do recognize that the enrollment is going down still slightly, and we're trying to come up with ways to deal with the budget accordingly. The big driver of the increase this year, as all of you have probably already heard, and this is not just Mascoma, this is statewide and nationwide, has been a drastic increase in the health insurance costs, which have gone up about 26%. That by itself equates to a little over a $1 million increase, and all else being equal, that would be a 3% increase roughly in the budget. So we've, when I say we, the administration has been very proactive in finding some ways we can offset that increase. Besides the health insurance, other than cost of living increases, is really the only thing that is going up at all is a one-time expenditure to put in curriculum materials and a new program into the elementary schools. It's known as Real Books, and it's designed to foster critical thinking and a love for reading, and the administrators have worked long and hard to find a program that they think is best, and this is what they've chosen. So there's a slight increase in that cost, but it will level off after this year and after we start that. And the budget committee heard what the principals had to say about that, and we felt very strongly that that's going to be money very well spent. As far as offsetting cuts, as I mentioned, we're not refilling some positions that we've lost through retirement, through attrition. The other couple of items was we made significant cuts to the tuition that goes to the Ledyard Charter School for students that wish to attend. And basically what we're doing with that is, in the past, that's been pretty much available on request to students and families that have wanted to send their students to Ledyard. Now is going to be a more rigorous process to ensure it's really a good fit and the student needs services they can get there that we cannot provide. If we can provide the kind of programming that the student needs, we're going to keep it in-house, which will, all in all, is going to save us a pretty good chunk of money. We've also taken a couple of the grounds maintenance and improvement projects and lumped them together in order to shift costs to the capital reserve funds and the capital improvement plan program. And we postponed some upgrades to security cameras unless grant money can be sourced for those. We've dropped some outdated software and the associated licensing. But with those cuts have enabled us to bring it down to the figure you see, which is just under the 1% increase. Some of the other items, scheduled maintenance and that sort of thing, we feel it's important to keep those on schedule to avoid large increases in the future. So we have not tried to make cuts in those areas or in the basic programming that we provide our students. So we feel that the administration and the committee here has done a very good job in presenting a fiscally responsible budget in the face of a very challenging environment. And so those are the highlights of the budget. And with that, I will open it up to public comment. I ask you to please use the microphone up right behind the center section, if you'd like to make some comments. Please state your name and the town that you're from.
Dave Buffet, Enfield. And in my second year as a member, closer? Okay. Dave Buffet, Enfield. In my second year as a town budget committee for Enfield, I have to commend the administration and the budget committee for coming in with a really tight budget that is actually less than your default budget. I wish we could say the same for the town. It doesn't look that way. Thank you.
Thank you, Ed.
Anybody else?
Good evening, folks. Thank you. So I just walked in and I'm my first time at a school budget meeting. So my name is Dan Collins, Goose Pond Road. So I want to make sure that I'm not stepping out of line in your procedure, first of all. So I had a question regarding student resource officer funding and that sort of thing, and I didn't know if this was an appropriate time to ask that question. And really the purpose of me asking the question is because I've asked a few other boards and committees and I didn't really get an answer, so that brings me here, so I'll just keep track until I find the answer.
This is absolutely appropriate, at least in the context of funding the position. The policy is really the school board rather than the budget committee, but anything related to funding, throw it at us.
Okay, excellent, so thank you. So I currently sit on the budget committee for Canaan, and the question that I've had is why is it that Canaan is the only town out of the 5 towns that has the obligation of having one of our officers here? How come that isn't more of a shared scenario of some sort?
I think I'll pass that to Amanda. She can probably address it better than I can.
Sure. Yep, look at me, I'm on. So I can say that we use the Canaan police officers because the school here at the high school where the police officer is, or the SRO, is housed, is here in Canaan. Officer Button services the Mascoma High School, services the Indian River School, and services issues out of the Canaan Elementary School. If we have issues at the Enfield Village School, those are serviced by the Enfield Police Department. In turn, part of the tax issues, the tax burden of the cost of the officer goes to the entire district. So we are responsible in our budget for 75% of the total operating costs for the SRO.
Understood. Understood. Thank you.
Sure.
And understanding that, what leads me to this question is really is a Canaan budget issue, but it leads me down a rabbit hole where I need to have appropriate answers to try to be heard and get some more thought process to this. So the situation has it where it really isn't so much about the funding of why I ask, but the actual time associated. So we have a request to add an additional officer to Canaan because we don't have enough boots on the ground. And my ask as the budget committee member was how can we think about fixing that internally here without just adding another person. Canaan's not doing the greatest tax-wise and all that, right? So I'm just trying to do some brainstorming and put some ideas out there, maybe some cost analysis or things. So that's the purpose of me being here. It's nothing to do with budget or anything. I think it's inappropriate for someone to come for the first time and start, thinking they know where you guys are at with your funding. So I appreciate what you're doing. And I don't know if maybe you may have a different response or a different avenue for me to think about when I leave, based on the fact that it's not so much with funding, it's with time. So I'm trying to figure out how we can get our officers' boots back on the ground in Canaan itself.
Sure, I think that's probably not a discussion for here, Scott, where we're deviating from the funding aspect of it. But I would say that I'd be happy to discuss that with you. Give me a call at the SAU office, or we'll set up an appointment to meet. We can talk about the shared vacation time that we provide here during the school year, what the expectations are during the school year, and whatnot. I'd be happy to do that with you.
So I appreciate that, and I will be in touch here. The budget season is kind of wrapping up. We're in a push for a lot of meetings, so forgive me if it's not in the immediate. But once we get through that, I'll touch base with you. I'd like to brainstorm with you.
No problem,
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Good, thank you for your questions. Anybody else like to comment? All right, there being nobody else lining up at the microphone, we will close the public comment at this time. The next order of business for the board is or the budget committee, I should say, is to go through the warrant articles that involve funding. We will vote to recommend or not recommend those articles. That includes the operating budget itself. After that, there will be one more opportunity for public comment before we move on to adjournment of the meeting. So the funding articles begin with Article 5. And what I'll do is I'll read the article, I'll ask for a motion and a second to get it on the floor, and then we'll open it for discussion. And after discussion is completed, we will vote to recommend or not recommend each article. So Article 5, entitled Open Enrollment. Shall the Mascoma Valley Regional School District vote to adopt the provisions of New Hampshire RSA Chapter 194-D and become an open enrollment school district under the terms of the RSA to admit 1% of the district's student population, but not to exceed 10 students from outside the Mascoma Valley Regional School District, and to allow 0% of the resident student population eligible to seek enrollment outside of the district. Do I have a motion to recommend or not recommend Article 5? Okay, we have a motion to recommend Article 5 by Wally. Do I have a second? Seconded by Andrew. Is there any discussion on that article? Amanda, do you have anything, or Tim, that you'd like to speak to on it?
Sure. Move me up. All right, well. No, it's red. Anyway. All right. Oh, all right. We'll try this one. This one's green. Okay, anyway, thank you. Yeah, so open enrollment, you may have seen in the news lately, Kearsarge Regional School District just did this. There's been some cases going through the New Hampshire court systems. There's been a law in the books for several years that has not been widely used by many districts, but recently a district in Prospect Mountain did this thing where they voted to be a receiving district and would accept students from other districts. And so somebody from some other town said, I want to send my kid there. And Prospect Mountain said, okay, well, the sending town is going to pay for that. And they went through court, and that sending town had no say in it, but that sending town was responsible for 80% of the cost of educating that child. And so we consulted with our lawyers, we consulted with the School Board Association. Many districts are doing this right now, and basically if we don't have anything on our books right now defining what our open enrollment policy is, we could allow any student to say, I want to go to any other school district in the state. Let's say they want to go to Hanover or Lebanon or something. And if they have room, they would accept them. And then our money would go over to that school district. 80% of that cost would go to that district, without any say from anybody in this district, without any say of like how those dollars are spent. You couldn't go to a Lebanon school district meeting and say, X, Y, or Z. So we felt that in order to protect our taxpayers here in our district, at least right now, that this was the best way to do this. This is what the advice of our legal counsel gave us. They will be there at deliberative session to give a little further explanation. But yeah, that's the long and short of it. This is seen as something to protect our taxpayers here, protect our school district that we have built for 60 plus years. And we find it's really important to our community. Did I miss anything, Amanda?
No, Tim, I think that's pretty good. As I said last night, we did have this come up in the school board meeting, and the question was, why would we not want to send any kids out? There are other mechanisms for students that would not be a good fit here in the Mascoma district for them to be able to go. But that's a decision made by teams in schools, made by the school board, with my input, not just, I want my child to be on a winning baseball team, so I'm going to send them to Lebanon. And that's just, the choice that a parent could make with open enrollment. And it takes Mascoma taxpayer money, and then sends it to Lebanon. So this is a fairly important article that we do need to support and make sure that we are keeping Mascoma taxpayer money in Mascoma.
Thank you for that information. Any questions or comments from Budget Committee members?
Is it 80% of the receiving district's cost per student or 80% of our cost per student?
Their cost. So if they're going to a more expensive district, yeah.
We could actually be paying more than what we would cost out for our education here. Okay,
Yeah, potentially.
thank you.
Yeah.
Anything else from the Budget Committee? All right, I'll ask for a vote on recommending the article as written. Show of hands in favor of recommending Article 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And opposed? And abstentions. It is recommended 6-0-0. Moving to Article 6, which is the operating budget. And before I read this, I just want to point out for a couple of folks in the public that if this is the final number that's voted on, and the Budget Committee is recommending this number, it does not bind the administration to the exact line items that went into this final dollar figure. We have found in the past they have been very mindful of the discussions we've had on individual line items, but they are not obligated to any individual line item. We're voting on a bottom line and nothing more. So, with that said, Article 6, the operating budget. Shall the Mascoma Valley Regional School District raise and appropriate as an operating budget, not including appropriations by special warrant articles and other appropriations voted separately, the amounts set forth in the budget posted with the warrant or as amended by vote of the first deliberative session for the purposes set forth therein, totaling $32,974,071. Should this article be defeated, the default budget shall be $33,209,497, which is the same as last year with certain adjustments required by previous action of the Mascoma Valley Regional School District or by law, or the governing body may hold one special meeting in accordance with RSA 40:13, paragraphs numeral 10 and 16 to take up the issue of a revised operating budget only. Do I have a motion to recommend or not recommend Article 6? Moved to recommend by Andrew. Do I have a second? Seconded by Wally. Is there any discussion on Article 6? We've been discussing this since the beginning of October. Any discussion this evening? Okay, there being none, I'll take a show of hands to recommend Article 6 as written and read. I have 6 in favor of recommending, opposed, and abstentions. Again, recommended 6-0-0. Moving to Article 7, which is the teacher negotiated agreement. I'll go ahead and read it again on the floor, and then I'll turn it over again to probably you, Tim, for any comments you have. Article 7 reads, Shall the Mascoma Valley Regional School District vote to approve the cost items included in the collective bargaining agreement reached between the Mascoma Valley Regional School Board and the Mascoma Valley Regional Education Association, which calls for the following increases in salaries and benefits at the current staffing level over those paid in the prior year. For fiscal year 2027, which is the upcoming year, the estimated increase is $353,146. Fiscal year 2028, the estimated increase is $422,387. And fiscal year 2029, the estimated increase is $436,916. And further, to raise and appropriate $353,146 for the current fiscal year, such sum representing the additional costs attributable to the increase in salaries and benefits required by the new agreement over those that would be paid at the current staffing levels. Shall the district, if Article 7 is defeated, authorize the school board to call one special meeting at its option to address Article 7 cost items only. So, do I have a motion to get Article 7 on the floor? Moved by Amber, a second? Seconded by Kristen. I'm assuming that's a motion to recommend, correct? Okay, say on that.
Okay, all right, so we went into a negotiated agreement, or negotiations with the teachers in search of this negotiated agreement. We went back and forth a lot this fall, and what we came down to is, as you saw, the biggest driver is health insurance for a lot of things. So we were able to, with the support of the union, switch plans for the teachers to get some better cost savings for the district. So you'll see that as reflected in the 2027 fiscal year. That's why that's a lower number. We see some significant cost savings by switching to a different plan for the teachers. It does increase some of their deductibles and premiums, things like that. And then you can see the other 2 years as well with their estimated increases there. Yeah, so that was the biggest driver of it, to be honest, was switching health insurance and supplementing with the raise to keep pace with inflation, really. And then we got some other things in the contract too, through some really creative negotiations together with the union. We were able to find ways that teachers are able to, if they want to work a little bit more, they are able to, take on one extra class. We wrote some language that allowed them to do that. We also looked at buyouts on the health insurance, because we find that, if we offer somebody to buy out their health insurance, if there is a way for them to get their health insurance elsewhere, if they're already, if they were able to get it elsewhere, we can see some cost savings from that. So we also ran some numbers to be able to find some maximum savings. So we'll see. We may even save some more depending on buyouts as well. So yeah, that's one thing. I think that was the big ticket stuff. So.
Thank you, Tim. Any questions, comments from the budget committee members? Article 7. There being none, take a show of hands to recommend Article 7 as written and read. That's 5 in favor, and opposed, and abstentions. I have 1 abstention. 5, 0, and 1. So moving to Article 8, which is to fund the facilities capital reserve. Shall the Mascoma Valley Regional School District vote to raise and appropriate a sum up to $350,000 to be added to the facilities capital reserve fund previously established in 1988 to fund the capital improvement plan? This sum to come from June 30th fund balance available for transfer on July 1. No amount would be raised from additional taxation. Do I have a motion to recommend or not recommend Article 8? Wally moves to recommend. I have a second. Seconded by Amber. Is there any questions, comments? Anyone do you wish to speak to?
Sure. Yeah, I'll just quickly speak to this. You can take a look at the CIP, the Capital Improvement Plan. The Finance Facilities Committee at the school board has really gone over this, and thanks to Michelle and our facilities directors and operations directors and Amanda, it's we've really gone through this, you know, nuts, soup to nuts, yeah, soup to nuts. Because this is a beautiful building, and we really want to make sure that, you know, the kids have done a really good job of keeping it nice. I gotta say, you know, I haven't seen that, and teachers say that, and staff say that, and we can all see that as the public. And so we want to be able to support them, support our buildings here, because that is an important part of the education. So by investing in long-term things that we can plan ahead and save money for, and know that we're going to cost, you know, it's going to be significant chunks of money, like a new roof. This is what you would do with your house, right? You know, you have to get a new roof every 20, 30 years. You sock away for it, you save. It's the same idea. So we took a look at some of like what are the big ticket items. We didn't want to like forget about anything that we would have to, you know, miss out on. So, you know, for like example, the athletic fields that you saw just out there this fall, those were capital improvement funds. So we saved for that. We upgraded those. But it's just been a lot of thought process and very, you know, thorough, so that we take care of these buildings, because they're just an important investment by the taxpayers, by the community. So we want to keep them in good shape.
Thank you, Tim. Before I move to other budget committee members, I'm just going to point out, I say this at every year at the deliberative session, that just in general, these capital reserve funds, and in particular the facilities and the capital improvement plan, these all represent very sound approaches to dealing with our financial obligations here at the school. It helps to prevent spikes in the year-to-year budget. And I very highly recommend that these articles dealing with the capital reserve funds are approved. Anybody else on the budget committee? Okay, there being no comments, no further comments, take a show of hands to recommend Article 8 as written in red. I have 6 in favor, and opposed, and abstentions. And it is approved 6-0-0. Moving to Article 9, to fund the cafeteria equipment capital reserve fund. Shall the Mascoma Valley Regional School District vote to raise and appropriate a sum up to $10,000 to be added to the cafeteria equipment capital reserve fund previously established in 2003. This sum to come from June 30th fund balance available for transfer on July 1. No amount is to be raised from additional taxation. Do I have a motion to recommend or not recommend Article 9? Recommended by Taylor. Second? Seconded by Kristen. Any discussion on Article 9?
Let's give you some insight into this. You can see the current balance in this fund is just shy of $2,600. We have used this significantly in the last several years as ovens and stoves and refrigerators conk out. You know how much it costs for a stove in your own house. Now imagine doing an industrial size one. They're $6 to $8 grand. Having this capital reserve fund allows us to be able to get that stove right away. We have that money ready for it, and we do replace them on schedules as well, and repair them. And having quality facilities and operational guys, these guys keep them running. But at some point, you just can't keep a 30-year-old dishwasher going, and you got to give up the ghost, and you got to get a new one. So that's what that's for.
Thank you, Tim. Anything else? Being no further comment, I'll take a show of hands to recommend Article 9 as written in red. 6 in favor, opposed, and abstentions. And it passes 6-0-0. And I'm just going to note, before we move on to the next article, that most years you see and hear the special education capital reserve fund. And we feel that is in good shape, and so we're choosing to take a year off from that, which is another way we can help keep the tax burden down for our district population. So Article 10 was submitted last minute.
I don't think you have to vote on this.
It's not fiscal.
Yeah, I realize that. I'm reading it, and
Yeah.
I guess my thinking is that the professor, well, I think I'm comfortable with the budget committee putting a recommendation out there. I don't know if would you like to deal with this evening as the school board, or are you going to do that at a subsequent meeting?
No, we have to, because we have a deadline to get it in there, so yeah.
Why don't I can turn it over to you first if you like, or why don't we go first if you like, it's no difference to me.
This was brought to us last minute, I didn't know that we'd have this on here, but this was a petition warrant article brought by petition, so, oh, I will read it because people in the stands there might not see it. Article 10 by petition, to see if the school district will vote to changes the mission statement to, quote, at Mascoma Valley Regional School District, we aspire to have 67% proficiency in reading and writing, end quote. So that is the petition warrant article. You know, I am not sure about this because it's one thing to have a, goal and stuff, but to make it our only mission statement, I kind of disagree with saying that should be our only mission statement. We have a broad mission statement of education. That can certainly be an aspiration and a goal that we have, but I'm not sure that I want to make that our only mission statement. So that's my thoughts on that.
I'll let other board members speak.
Did the petitioners make a statement or just present this? Did the petitioners make a statement about this, or did they just present it and walk out the door?
They brought it to the school board meeting last night and said that they brought a petition warrant article and they felt that our standards should be this high. That's
Okay,
pretty much.
but did they say they wanted this to be the only mission statement of the district?
They didn't get into that. They just gave us this with signed signatures on it.
Okay.
And I'm just reading it as it's written.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my interpretation of this would be, if I'm looking at the numbers correctly, would be to have 67% proficiency in reading and writing. I would not recommend this in the aspect of how proficiency is measured, just in general with students. I think that if we take in consideration the entire population of students within the district, getting all students to a 67 proficiency would be a struggle. I would believe we need to meet the needs of students where they are, and that I think our educators do a good job of doing. So I would recommend this petition.
Okay. So I'd like to point out that the current mission statement is, we are a community that values creativity, curiosity, and the pursuit of excellence, cultivating our strengths and interests to inspire partnerships in the district, community, and the world beyond. For historical knowledge on this, we spent many years, or many hours, about 10 or 11 years ago. I'm looking at Matt Oliver, he was on the committee with me. Many of the other people in this auditorium were on the committee with me. The committee that created the strategic plan created both our vision and mission statements. The vision statement you will see is broad and overarching, and it is Mascoma inspires, build the path you want to take. We worked as community members, we worked as parents, we worked as educators, we worked as administrators. We invited anyone that wanted to be on that strategic planning committee to be there. And we worked together to create both the vision and the mission that we felt best represented our district. So that's a little bit of historical knowledge about how our current vision and mission statements came to be. So it was not voted on, it was not a warrant article, it was a collaboration of people who were interested in and dedicated to the betterment and forward motion of the Mascoma district.
Partially, I think, as a board member, I kind of want to abstain from this because I don't think we should be voting up or down on this either way, because I see like a yes vote on it recommends something that I don't necessarily believe in because it's not practical. I think it's a misunderstanding of the word proficiency. because it's taking like a business sense of proficiency as opposed to an educational sense of proficiency. And so I kind of want to abstain on this because I don't want to vote against it because then it looks like I'm against that, but I'm not. You know, I'd like our kids to be proficient in things, but I kind of want to abstain on it, and I'm not sure if that's what the board would like to do as well. That's my 2 cents.
I guess my line of thinking is very similar to yours, that while I don't disagree, we should always be looking to raise the bar in proficiencies and, you know, do better, that this is not really all encompassing, and I don't feel that voting no is in the spirit of that. But I also think that voting in favor of it would not be encompassing of our true vision and hopes for the kids of the district.
I just would add too that 67% is such an arbitrary number. Before I would vote on anything like this, I want to know where that number came from and, you know, why that number. So I don't think we should vote either.
My recommendation would to have the board abstain from voting on this. I think it takes us to a neutral position. I think this article could be easily challenged, even if there was a majority vote to support it at a later time.
Could I make a comment to the school board regarding the vote? Well, I understand the thinking to simply abstain and not recommend or recommend. My personal feeling is that partly because of the reasons you already laid out, but also because I think that our goals should be much higher than 67%. And it's possible, I think that I would like to see the board vote to not recommend the article simply because it sends a message to the voters that this is just not the way you create a mission statement, and so that's just my 2 cents worth.
That's fair. That's definitely fair.
I think that if we start to look at warrant articles and decide what this, and this could help you all, and decide what this warrant article is about, it's about changing the mission statement. It's not about the proficiency levels, so I would caution you not to worry about it making you appear negative about wanting to make growth in reading and writing. Okay, I think that's what I'm hearing from you all. We all want this. Is it good for us to have some standards to be met? Absolutely. But this is about the nature of this article is to change the mission statement, not, you know, you can not think of it as we're not supporting growth and achievement by our students.
That makes sense. Okay. Yeah, I feel more comfortable about voting against this, not recommending this as well then. It is about the mission statement. But yeah, I disagree with like kind of the impetus behind it. But I don't want to be accused of saying like, we don't want the kids to be proficient. We do, we all want it. And like you said, we'd love it to be higher. We'd love it to be 100, but.
I do think that the conversation that this starts, though, is a beneficial conversation.
Yeah.
So, regarding what we want to see for our students in the future.
Yeah, can this be changed at deliberative session?
Yeah.
Can we hold off on voting yea or nay before deliberative? Can we vote,
We would revote after it was reworded, right? Hey, our moderator's here.
Sorry, go ahead.
We have to vote now, but then if it's changed, we get to revote on it, right?
So in other words, if we don't vote on it now, and it's changed at the meeting, we can vote on it then. Right.
And if it changes, then, yeah, I think we just vote.
So, but we have to vote tonight to get it past this step tonight. We have to vote on it tonight. Yeah.
Only if it's not changed.
No, we have, we have to vote on it tonight, and then a deliberative, if it's changed, we can vote on it again.
So if we don't vote tonight, we can't vote after deliberative if it's changed?
You can, but you need a vote on it to go to deliberative.
Well, we don't have to vote on something for it to go to deliberative if it's a warrant, if it's a petitioned article, right?
I guess we don't have to vote on it, but.
Okay. I was just trying to clarify.
I would also like to just jump in and say that this is probationary right now. We have not verified that there are 25 registered voters whose signatures appear on this warrant article. We have asked for that to be verified. It has not yet been verified, so this is probationary. And it could be amended. Any of these warrant articles could be amended at deliberative.
Can we table our vote? No, I'm serious. I'd like to have more information. I'd really like to know what the real purpose of this whole thing is, unless somebody knows exactly what's in the mind of these ones.
Well, I think tonight we can only vote on what's in front of us. So we're voting on what's submitted, and it's word for word. Grammatical deficiencies and all. Okay, we have member of the public. Go ahead and say your name. And it's not public comment section, but I'm glad to take public comment on this article.
It's a question. This is not a fiscal article as petitioned. I asked the question, is it necessary to have any vote at all by either the budget committee or the board?
I would say that there are fiscal implications to this, right? If the board all of a sudden told me that I needed to have, 67% proficiency and we're at about 40, that could imply staff, that could imply new programming, that could imply interventions, all at a cost to the district.
Does the word aspire change that?
I have no idea, Wally, I didn't write this warrant article.
No, I understand, but it doesn't say we have to reach it. It says we aspire to. We aspire to reach 100%. I want all the kids to be able to achieve that level.
I think I want to bring it back to the fact that it's a change of the mission statement is the flavor of this warrant article. So I look at it for
That's what
that
I
way.
want to point out.
Yeah, and I'm comfortable with the fact that there are potential budget implications in this, maybe not this fiscal year, but potentially this fiscal year. So I think I'm okay with the budget committee chiming in on it with a recommendation.
And then, as far as the full board, we have to vote on petition warrant articles. That's just what we as the board do. So,
Point of order, are you still okay with the public comment?
Go ahead. And then we'll move back to the board, please.
I was trying to go off with the last person, so my apologies, but so I myself put forth some petition articles for the town warrant this year, and I know I had a very strict deadline to get those in, and I wonder if this, and I'm not yay or nay on the article, but it may be a technicality, where, I think that the warrant articles had to be turned in, and my question is it different for a school petition warrant article than a town, and who would verify those signatures, and what was the deadline to turn that petition in?
Sure, I can answer all those questions because I spent a lot of time on that today. So it was due yesterday. Because we had a school board meeting, it was acceptable for that petition warrant article to be turned into the school board at that meeting. It was still, the day was still in session, if you will. If we had closed the SAU at 5 o'clock and not had a board meeting, it would have been due at 5 o'clock. And would have then missed the deadline. This was turned in at the school board meeting, so it did meet the deadline. And we have sent this to the town of Grafton because it appears that most of the addresses are in Grafton, and we have asked for verification from the town clerk.
Understood, thank you.
All right, and the school board has yet to vote.
Yeah.
So I'm going to leave it with Tim for now. It will come back to the budget committee after the school board has voted.
okay. All right. So I'll make a motion, so I'm going to make a motion to recommend, and we'll vote yes or no, or abstain on it. So make a motion to recommend Article 10 by petition to see if the school district will vote to change its mission statement to, quote, "At Mascoma Valley Regional School District, we aspire to have 67 proficiency in reading and writing," unquote. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right. All those in favor of recommending this article signify by raising your hand. All opposed to recommending this article, raise your hand. All right, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And abstentions? All right, no abstentions. All right. Back to you, Scott.
Thank you. So back to the school board, there's obviously been some discussion. Is there any, sorry, back to the budget committee, any further discussion from budget committee members on this? I'm just going to reiterate what I said before. I do believe that it could have budgetary impacts, so I think we're justified in the recommendation. We're not recommending. I also feel in terms of the statement itself that I don't want to cap what we want for proficiency. I think we should aspire to 100%. And then also the mission statement has been established with a lot of thought, and to just change it with no input just doesn't make sense to me, and it could have budgetary impacts that we just can't know what they're going to be tonight. Before we get to the vote, I can tell you right now, I'm not going to vote to recommend this article. So, any further discussion from the budget committee? There being none, I'll take the motion similarly to the way Tim did it with the school board. So I'll have a motion to recommend the petition article, and I'll reread it one last time for the budget committee to see if the school district will vote to changes in the mission statement to, quote, "At Mascoma Valley Regional School District, we aspire to have 67% proficiency in reading and writing." Do I have a motion to recommend Article 10 as written and read? Yeah, I have a motion to recommend it by Wally. Do I have a second? We're really just getting it on the floor here. And actually, you know what, I think, why don't I change the motion I'm requesting? I will accept the motion to not recommend Article 10. I think we'll all feel more comfortable going about it that way from the tone of your voice when you recommended it. So I'll accept the motion to not recommend Article 10. We good with that? Yeah. Kristen moves that motion. And a second? Wally seconded. All right, so I'm going to ask for a show of hands to not recommend Article 10 as read and written. I see 6 hands. Anybody wish to recommend Article 10? Nobody, and any abstentions? So the Budget Committee does not recommend Article 10 unanimously, 6 votes to so however you want to put it in the warrant. I think it's clear what our feeling is.
Can it be phrased that way? Say,
So that gets us through the petition articles. We have one last opportunity for public comment. If anybody wishes to speak, same rules as before. 5 minutes, state your name and town of residence if you would like to speak.
The question I had is just, for my own curiosity, do we know what our proficiency rating is now?
Do you have that? We do. It varies from school to school. I've had to overall put one piece on the warrant article. But right now I'm going to put my principals on the spot, and they are going to tell you exactly what their proficiency in ratings are, because they all know. They have done their homework. Jamie, would you start, please?
Sure.
And-
We are 55% proficient in reading and 87% proficient in math at Enfield.
Enfield Village School, 55% proficiency in reading, and 87% math.
Now, I do not ask this question as a gotcha or put anybody on the spot. So if you don't know, I understand.
No problem.
I
Yeah.
asked because I just didn't know if the petitioner had an idea of what their request actually was.
Much appreciated. I appreciate getting this on the record.
Yeah.
Who's next? Megan, do you have yours? Canaan Elementary School? 51% in reading and 48% in math. Thank you. Karen, at the Indian River School?
We are 45% in ELA and 30% in math.
45% in English Language Arts and 30% in math. And Tina?
ELA is 65% and math is 33%.
So at the Mascoma Valley Regional High School, we had 53?
65%.
Oh, 65, excuse me, I gave you, I shorted you. 65% in English Language Arts
And 33% in math.
and 33% in math. Thank you all, I appreciate your hard work.
Yeah, thank you, I appreciate it. Is there, so with this 67% or whatever that represents, is that an average if you were, how does it work? Do you combine all of that as a district?
I have no, unfortunately, I'm unable to attempt to give you an answer on that because I don't know what the intent or the flavor or how that number was approved.
Understood, no worries, thank you for your time, I appreciate it. Yep.
Thank you. We've been through all the warrant articles. No more public comment. All right, being none, I will just note that the deliberative session is scheduled for Saturday, January 31st here in the auditorium with a snow date of Monday, February 2nd. With that, we have been through the agenda, so are there any objections to adjourning the meeting? There being none, the chair will adjourn the meeting of the Mascoma Valley Regional Budget Committee at 6:57. Thank you all for coming out, I appreciate it. We'll do the signatures. Does that have to be during the open meeting? Does that need to be signed during the open meeting, or we've approved it, so I think we can just sign?
Yeah, we just signed
Yeah,
it.
that's what we're talking about, yeah. Yep, so the meeting is adjourned. Thank you.